in Cinema Land. Yep. Yeah,
Nice.
so friends in Cinema Land and post-production houses, they're getting a lot of interest. So
Good.
should
That
be
sounds.
good times. Should be good times.
Hopefully that's true. I'm looking forward to it then, if that's the case.
Yeah. Roll on April.
How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Fine, fine. Nice to have you here. So glad you could join us. Sorry about the whatever it is. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for us to schedule with people across the big pond. So I don't know what's wrong with us. But what time is it there right now? It's almost 2 o'clock Central Time in the United States. Where are you? You're in Spain and.
No. We moved away from Spain. We're back in the United Kingdom. So.
Okay.
So long story,
yeah.
but long story short is we're back in the UK.
Okay.
So it is now 6:50 in the evening.
Okay.
There in the UK.
And so you moved to Spain, came back, and you had to set your studio up again and get everything rearranged.
So total brand new build. Spent about £4,000 on building brand new studios and / social space. But we're loving it. It's fantastic, and I think it's 10 times better than what we had originally. So it's a really good studio. I'm very comfortable in my surroundings. Very.
And do you live in an apartment complex, or do you live in a home? Do you have a home there?
In a house, yep. So we've got a lovely 3-bedroom house, and we've done a lot with it as well since we moved in on the 1st of December. So we've put a brand new garden in. Brand new decking area, barbecue shack because I am the barbecue king, and I love
grill master.
I love setting fire to coal and then burning meat. My God-given privilege, and I'm going to abuse it.
And when you when you come visit us in the United States, we'll have the grill going, no doubt about it.
I'll bring my apron and the tinnies.
Yeah. And so are you in London or where are you?
No, I'm back in Yorkshire. Believe it or not, I'm actually one street behind where we used to live originally.
Oh,
I mean, that's
really?
how crazy it is. But, you know, it's like creatures of habit, isn't it, really? We didn't feel quite part of the community in Ibiza. And over here, we just feel wanted. And you know, when you just feel that need to where you live and where you be. Yeah. Although I'm doing VO across the globe,
yeah,
community and family is absolutely imperative for your sanity, for anything. So we just fit back into this 5-fingered glove. It was just brilliant, really good. So yeah, we're living life right now.
Good. Well, I'm glad for you. Sometimes moves like that aren't always so seamless. I'm not saying that it wasn't with trouble, I'm sure, but or some difficulties, I'm sure, along the way. But it's nice that you were able to find a spot and you're happy there and stuff. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was good, and we were building up some real nice friendships, but it just didn't feel right. At all. But if we didn't do it, we wouldn't have known. And the fear of the unknown is worse than actually not doing it in the first place. So, you know, I'm glad we did. It was a great life experience. We had an amazing time on the way back because we traveled through the whole of Europe. So we went from Ibiza to Denia to Valencia to Sitges in Barcelona. And then from Barcelona, we went to Cannes, to France, and Montpellier. And then from there, we went to Switzerland. And then from Switzerland to Austria to Germany, and then Germany to the Netherlands. And then we went to Abenra and went all the way through up there. And it was just a phenomenal experience. Then we went to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to the United Kingdom. So, and we took the dog. I mean, the dog was with us, and we drove all the way.
Wow!
And we're trying to enter the Guinness Book of Records or the World Record books to have the most traveled dog in Europe, if not the world. 4 countries in 24 hours he managed to cover.
Wow! And have you ever been to all of those countries, or were some of those new experiences for you?
There were new experiences for us all. We vlogged the whole thing as well, so we're a family of vloggers. So we managed to capture the whole experience. I managed to vacate an entire hotel in Germany because they stupidly put a kitchenette just below a smoke alarm, and I'm cooking my sausage, my bratwursts, and I'm cooking those, and a fair amount of smoke coming off. And my wife just said to me, she went, "I wonder if those smoke alarms are." And before she could say connected, please vacate the building. Please vacate the building. Oh, and then all of a sudden, five fire engines arrive on the scene. And knowing full well it's me that set off the alarms with my breakfast. So I just went down to reception and went, "Hello, I'm British. Sorry."
It was expensive breakfast.
Very expensive breakfast, yeah. But luckily, they didn't charge me for vacating the entire hotel, which is
good. Yeah. Yeah, well, and were you, when you did all of that traveling, was that after you'd moved back to the UK or on your way home? And
on the way home.
Wow.
Yeah. So we decided to turn a negative into a positive by saying, "Well, tell you what, let's just do a European road trip. Let's follow the Griswolds. let's do what they did."
Yeah.
And we just had an amazing time. So it was a great experience for us all, even the dog.
And you have 2 children.
Yeah.
Right.
Holly
Were
and
they,
Ben. Yep.
and they traveled with you?
Yes, they did.
Well, how
Yep,
fun.
yep.
How fun. Well, good for you.
Oh, it was so much fun. Really was. And we didn't plan any of the hotels either. So it was literally, wife drove all the way while I was on my phone booking us into a hotel. So where should we go? Well, go there. Right. Okay. Dog friendly. Great. Lovely. And then we booked it and then just arrived. It was so seat of your pants. It was fantastic.
But that's kind of fun. Yeah, that's fun, isn't it, to do it like that sometimes. Are you were in radio? You still don't do some radio, do you? I mean, other than commercials, you do a morning show or some sort of regular broadcast?
I do the drive show. So it's Chris Marsden in the afternoon, because my name's Chris Marsden and I'm on in the afternoon. So hence the title name. It fits.
Very catchy, very catchy.
Thank you. So I do that on a radio station that I created back in 2017. And just before we left to Ibiza, I passed control on to a friend of mine who is a very, very astute businessman, used to own a radio station in Chesterfield in the UK. And he took it on under his wing. And so I was the MD at the time, then passed it on to him. He's now the MD. And then we didn't fit in Ibiza. And I came back and said, "Could I have a job, please?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem. We'll make you content controller and we'll give you the afternoon show." So I then continue on the radio station I created, which is unheard of really in radio terms. You know, just don't get the MD, the ex-MD of the radio station still continuing on the radio set. But we're building it up. We've relaunched, we've rebranded. It's just great. So I've never actually not done radio since 1991. So I have every single day of my life been on the radio.
So you started when you were like 7 or something like that on the radio? Because you can't be that much.
You're so kind.
Well, you can't be that much. You can't be. You're not that old, close to my age. There's no way. Because I started actually in 1978, but then I started on a station in 1990. How old were you when you started in 91?
So in 1991, I was 15 years of age.
You were, okay. Wow. So you were young.
And yeah, very, very young. And it was my local radio station, Hallam FM in Sheffield, reading out the sports results, and then went on to BBC Radio Sheffield, where I was given the time tunnel. And then from Time Tunnel, I went to ILR commercial sector in Nottingham to do Trent FM. And then from Trent FM, went to Minster FM to Mercia FM to Garrison Radio across the UK for the British Army, and then to Stray FM, Fresh Radio, Century FM, Stray FM. So I've been up and down the UK. I've done regional, I've done national, and I'm back on local radio, which I love. You know, because you guys had a lot of great local radio stations that was snaffled up by Clear Channel.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
messed around with, and it's like one of my favorite radio stations over there was Hartford's Big D. I loved that one, especially with Ron Daly, who obviously does Fun Tower Radio now, but Hartford's Big D was an amazing local radio station that really tended to the local area, and they did some pretty big things on a small scale. And it was, that's what I love about local radio is that you can do big city sound on a small budget and just still sound fantastic. So yeah, always done radio, always.
Is your current station internet, or is it an actual
it's FM,
transmitter?
it's DAB.
Okay, it's FM. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got 2 FM transmitters. So it's on 90 FM and 102.8 FM. We cover North Yorkshire as well, which is the biggest county in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So it covers just under, actually just over 1.2 million people that it services.
Wow.
So it's quite a nice big area. That's on DAB digital radio, and we're also online and smart speaker and app as well. So we cover the whole job lot.
How does it work how does it work with voiceover? I mean, obviously you have a lot of show prep, or not so much? It's just play music, talk in between, do weather, stuff like that. Is that the afternoon drive, the drive, traffic, weather, stuff like that?
The afternoon show it is quite quick fire, but I try to make it like a breakfast show, a breakfast crew feel, but in the afternoon, servicing the afternoon folks on their drive home. So it's still very entertaining. Got some showbiz in there, got a couple of quick quips, a couple of jokes and jibes, but all delivered within a minute kind of scenario. So if you've not delivered it within a minute, shut down the microphone and just crack on with the music. So
yeah.
But I think I'm doing a pretty good job. They're liking exactly what I'm doing, and there's lots of local information in there, as well as big giveaways that we're doing, etc. So it's all very big sounding, but on a smaller regional local scale.
Yeah, and then so you're doing that every afternoon. What, 2 to 6? Is it a normal drive time like ours, or 3 to 7?
Yeah. So it's 3 to 7.
3 to 7
is the time, and the boss, the MD, is such a nice guy. We've just relocated into a new building, so it's dual floor, and I've been project managing 3 vocal booths because there's still a call for VO actors, actresses to utilize those studios, and there's not many studios around for any traveling actors up and down the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have something in York where they can go to do voicing commercials, etc., and we're helping them out,
mm-hmm.
that's only a good thing. So we'll hire out the booth for a small fee, but their fee will obviously be greater when they're using the booths, but they'll be decked out with immaculate hardware and software and processing and that. So if they want to turn the processing off, they can do, but there's a couple of Neumanns in every single booth, DBX for the processing and for the gates. So those are the vocal booths, and then the radio station's got its own digital studios that we've they're actually not being commissioned yet. So it's about another 10 days before the real desks are in there. But the studio is so dead in there. It's brilliant, honestly. You walk in there, you lose your hearing because it's that dead. And then you step out into the hallway and you get your hearing back. It's just absolutely amazing, really is. The builders have done a fantastic job, really have. But the boss allows me to do all my VO and production from there as well, which is phenomenally good. Again, you never, ever hear of that. But it's just down to the service level agreement that I've got with him, and he's perfectly fine with it.
Is that where you do all of your recording, or do you have a home studio as well?
It's where I will be doing that. This is my home studio that I've got here at the moment that I'm talking to you in. So microphone at the side of me, the RE20, and I've got the Go XLR Mini that I absolutely adore because the settings on it are just phenomenal. Make it sound really crisp. and the EQ has got about 20 band equalizer on the microphone, which is really, really good. It remembers all your settings. And so this part of the studio where I am at the moment, so this is where I do all my vocals. So I've got all the soundproofing around the edging here. And then the rest of it behind me is the bar area where the family socialise. We've got Chesterfield down there. We've got a bar with the optics and the alcohol there. I've got a fridge underneath here. Even got a record player as well, so we can play our vinyls, which got a rather nice collection of vinyl records.
Wow, Elton John. Yeah.
Yeah. Even a white label.
And you remember, and you were in radio long enough ago that you had to cue those babies up, didn't you?
Oh yeah, quarter turn back whistles sound like they're vomiting.
But here's the thing, Chris. You know, I was in radio for 30 years, and the boys grew up in a radio. You know, they came to the station sometimes. So this is all, and there's enough people that watch this that there's some that won't know what we're talking about, but there's other people that they'll go, yep, I know exactly what he's talking about. Reel to reels and cassettes and cart machines. You
see, I worked in production at the BBC, and when somebody said to me, "Oh, can you stick us 5 minutes worth of tape into a cart?" It was the bad, honestly, because you had to then reel the tape off. 5 minutes worth of doing that. And if it asked for 10 minutes, you tell them to go away. No certain terms. But yeah, I mean, splicing, then you spliced a bit too much. Where's that bit of tape? You're gonna find it more somewhere. Then put it back together again with more tape. Honestly, but those were the days, you know. Nowadays you just push go and that's it. It's all there for you.
I told my dad that I would have just given up if I had to do any of that, because you go to Adobe Audition and you use your mouse, right click and drag and all that stuff. It's like, oh, that's done. I would not have been in voiceover if I would have had. Well,
that's not completely true, because just like farmers that use tractors now, they used to use horses and they didn't know any better. We didn't know any better. You know, we didn't have software. So you learned to cut tape. You learned to use your grease pen and you had a nice sharp razor blade all the time. Otherwise you cut it and it ripped, and then you had a real problem.
and then when you try to erase carts as well with a bulk eraser, you have to take your watch off.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And you better not have a pacemaker either, Chris. You get that baby too close to your heart and it's going to make you skip a beat.
The amount of dead people around the bulk eraser.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, and then if you didn't get the bulk eraser done well enough, or you pulled it off wrong, it would have this
or the previous recording creeping in.
Yeah. Well, you know, you and I will have to just schedule a time to talk about radio sometime, but we need to move on to voiceover here.
Absolutely.
So tell me what you've been up to voiceover wise. We want to hear about that. And boys, you can jump in anytime you want now that we've reminisced a little bit.
Honestly, I love VO because it's so diverse. And that's there was a group of voiceovers that got together. What's the terminology for a group of voiceovers? A script of voiceover actors. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a whole big bunch of us that got together a couple of weeks ago, and one of the major things that I've heard Bill talk about this time and time again, and that's the horrible touchy subject of AI. Which we can talk about, and I have my own views on that. But it was definitely one of the subjects that we were talking about, and there's a lot of different views about it, a lot of different views. But I would state that it's up to the producer and the producer's knowledge they have that definite sound. They have that idea in their head of they've written the script and they know what they want it to sound like. And doesn't matter how many words you type into a computer to try and get it right. There's nothing like directing a voiceover to say, can you do it like this? Yeah, I'll do it like that. And then you reel it off. Great. Can you give me another couple of takes of that? No problem at all. To do another couple of takes with AI, what do you have to do? You have to transpose the pitch, or type it in this way, or maybe put a comma here. And then by the time you've done all that, you're actually spending more time inputting into a computer how you want it to try and sound, rather than how you actually want it to sound in the first place. So it's actually creating a whole myriad of problems for the producers, when the easiest way is just get a human being in to do the job, and it'll be quicker as well, and you'll get a better result.
Yeah. Like at the end of a session, your producer, whoever's directing you, creative director, says, let's warm up that last word there. And a human voice can warm up that last word. I mean, if they're trained, you know, if you have your skills and trained up and you've done it. So, but it's hard to get a computer to warm up something, you know, to warm up a phrase, you know what I mean? Or to put a little more smile into that last couple of words. That's just, I don't know. Maybe it'll get there. But as of right now, it's not.
No,
hard to recreate the human voice, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's a human voice.
It's hard to create emotion. That's, you know, so how many times have you been in a voiceover session and then the producer says, can you give that little twang towards the end? What do you mean by it? Well, you know what I mean. When I hear it, I'll know what I'll know what it sounds like. And then you end up doing it. So that's it. That's the twang. That's what I want. You know, or some kind of nuance that the human voice carries with it. I really do think also that there's going to be a lot of data issues and problems deriving from this. So one thing that came out of the conversation was Adobe. Hidden within Adobe, there's a little tick box. And in the little tick box, it says, we may use your voice. This is the cloud Adobe Audition, by the way. So anyone that uses the cloud version, there's a tick box that says we may use your voice for research into AI. Untick this box because it's actually ticked as a natural.
Sure.
So you have to untick it for them not to use your voice. And if you're not technically savvy, then your voice will be used in AI because you've said it can be used.
Good point. Good tip for everybody. I didn't know that. So they have the default setting on, which is really criminal.
It is, absolutely. So that's why I use Cool Edit Pro to do all my editing. And then I finish off with a master on Adobe Audition 3 because it's got the Isotope suite built into it. And I've got some pretty mean settings with that. And I will not change it for the world, because what I produce, according to the people that receive my work, is banging. So, you know, I'm not going to change that. If someone says that my work sounds awesome, why should I change it? You know, why should I change my techniques and what I've trained myself to do all these years? You know, no one's taught me how to do what I do. It's all self-taught.
So just for these guys, Cool Edit Pro was Adobe before it was Adobe.
Centrillium software.
Cool Edit Pro was purchased or something by Adobe, correct? Is that
it was indeed? Yeah. So it's Cool Pro 2 that I use, version 2 Cool Edit Pro, and it is so rock solid with what it does. You only need that to what it does. You know, there's too many fandangled things that, I mean, half of us don't even know what to use, how to use it, or what it's there for in the first place. And no one will ever venture out into that uncharted territory. So just stick with what you know and what you're good at and what you're good at using, and just stick with it. Absolutely. No need to move.
Cool Edit Pro was the first software after the grease pen and editing block that I learned. It was the first one we had at the radio station, and then it turned into Adobe, and we started using that and on and on. So
yeah, because there was an original one called, you remember Vegas Pro?
Yeah, I do.
That was run by Sony, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then there was Sadie, which was an English, had a SCSI drive, so you had to purchase this hardware that contained this so-called audio SCSI drive, but that didn't take on as much as Cool Edit did. So I'm just sticking with the basics.
Yeah. So now, boys, you guys maybe have some questions that you want to move to, maybe either some personal type things, or maybe a little bit more about what they're doing, what he's doing with marketing and stuff like that. I know you're on LinkedIn, Chris, but go ahead, Hudson. What do you?
I was just going to ask, and we might be getting too far ahead of the game right now, but I was wondering, for me, I'm trying to figure out where my voice fits and stuff like that. I'll be 2 years in voiceover in April, but I found that in the UK, for some reason, they like my voice. I don't know why, but you'd think, oh, you got an American voice, so maybe in America your voice would be really, and I do get a fair amount of jobs from America, but maybe second place would be the UK. Do you find, for your voice, is there a certain country, a certain region? Maybe you do really well in the UK because you have that UK voice, but maybe you do better in America, or maybe that's not a good question, but is there a certain area that you find, just out of curiosity, that you do well in?
Well, I'm global, so I tend to do a lot everywhere. I'm recently been picked up though by Abu Dhabi, and it's been two major companies that I've done stuff for. It's HSBC and Bank of Abu Dhabi, and they seem to be pretty much at loggerheads at the moment of using my voice, because they want to use my voice as their only voice for their efforts in Abu Dhabi. So I'm just going to let them fight it out for themselves. I do a lot in Spain, that mainly because there's a lot of radio stations over there that I service and do commercials and promos and station imaging. With Fiverr, yet again, I'm quite hot in Africa, South Africa. I've just recently taken on about 7 or 8 jobs in South Africa. I'm not sure whether it's because they've heard my voice over there or not. I don't know. I've done a fair bit for the States in various different zones, different places. And it's just totally widespread, so I do a fair amount of the United Kingdom, but if I was to pinpoint any place that was king of voiceovers, I would probably say Spain mainly.
Because like I said, I'm new. I'm still new, so it could change as I get better. But for some reason, some of my bigger clients from when I first started, it was like almost always in UK. It was like, which I'm not complaining, but it's just like,
no. This was interesting. It's good. And that's really cool that you and your voice are doing really well in the United Kingdom, and that strangely enough makes me happy. It really does, because it does, because it's all part of the VOMP family, and it's nice that it's happening for you, and you're so new in VO. It's nice, and you see, my voice was not like this back in 1992, 93 when I first did my voiceover, and your voice will change, as Dad will say, over all the years. You are constantly changing, and you're finding yourself doing different adverts that you wouldn't be doing now. But it depends on your range as well, so I'm a bit of a character voiceover artist as well, so I like to utilize my voice, using it for caricatures. So whether yours is just a straight read or animated straight read, or whether you're into characters and doing various different voices. Have you ever experimented on that kind of thing?
I haven't experimented a lot. I haven't thought of myself as someone who'd be great with character voices, but that's something that I'm trying to get out of my head, because if somebody wants your voice and they say, hey, we want your voice for this character, or to, like you said, experiment with it a little bit, you might open yourself up to another aspect of voiceover. So
yeah, I used to tread the board, so I used to be on stage, and played various different parts, from Terence Rattigan's Deep Blue Sea to Arthur Miller's View from a Bridge to Dr. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So, but it's always been in my blood to be on stage and do wacky voices, and I've always done stupid voices and sketches and things like that. So just have fun with it, have fun with your voice and try stuff, and try it out and record it and listen back to yourself and how can I improve that. That's the voice is a wonderful thing, and you never know how many other jobs you could pick up if you utilize your voice some more.
True.
We've got about 5 minutes here left. John, do you have anything, or Hudson, or Chris? Maybe you have after John. Maybe you've got some things you just wanted to say or talk about a little bit for a few more minutes. Go ahead, Johnny. You got something?
Hopefully, mine's fairly quick for him. You mentioned that you get jobs all over the place. So how are you? You said some of your connections through radio, but is there anything? I can't remember, and so I apologize. But are you doing somewhat of a hybrid approach with your marketing, or do you just kind of how do you work that? I guess I know that if you can answer that within that time frame.
Okay, right. Well, on Facebook, it's it's kind of a menagerie of delights with Facebook, but I rarely stick anything personal or any kind of views or political, etc. I use Facebook as a marketing tool.
Okay.
I throw it out there. I'm constantly putting on my TV work. One of my dream jobs I landed first part of this year was doing the voiceover for the Motley Crue and Def Leppard tour across the UK.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Def Leppard from Sheffield, and I'm a Sheffield lad. I was born in Sheffield, so to do a voiceover for Joe and the guys, it's like, get on. But yet again, as soon as I got the visuals from Live Nation, put it on Facebook, because people don't realize that when you're posting links on YouTube, the algorithms are fantastic. They're great because they're all backlinks to your voice, so you type in voiceovers or Def Leppard, who's that voice? It says Chris Marsden on the search engine. They're right in front of them, which is great. And then it leads to my website as well.
Nice.
Having a great website is paramount as well. So getting proper backlinks on your website, meaningful content as well, and keeping it up to date constantly. Having downloadable products. Yet again, when you've got AI, it's kind of a tough thing because people can download your voice and then utilize it illegally.
True. Yeah.
So, it's best to try and pump as much music or sound effects in the background so it makes it nigh on impossible for them to get the algorithm of your voice, so they can steal it then for their own benefit. But yet again, everything we put on the internet is grabbable and takeable and editable and everything else above. But yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, plaster everything on LinkedIn, Twitter, same. So my major social medias are Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and I just use those to death. YouTube is fantastic. Yet again, we use that for our vlogging with the family, but all the backlinks we've got on the vloggers, if you want a voiceover, go to Chris Marsden, voiceover.vo.com. So all the backlinks are all in there as well. So just go hell for leather. just haul yourself out.
Well, Chris, we appreciate your time. We're just about to the end of our 40 minutes, but I think if you're willing to, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I think in a short bit of time, maybe in a few months, maybe if you wouldn't mind coming back and visiting with us, and talk, a little bit more about your marketing and talk a little bit more about the voiceover aspect. It was fun to talk about your travels. Your back and forth. That's really enjoyable. I think people will enjoy that. The radio stuff was hey, listen, even if it was just you and me talking, I don't really care about what anybody else got out of it. It was fun. So, but we're gonna let you go here for now, and then we will we'll try to catch back up with you and you'll smile and say you'll do it, and we'll ask you on an email, can we get you again? And you'll say, no, I'm not doing that again.
No, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, you've been very kind, and thanks so much for you're a very easy interview, very wonderful interview. So, you going to say something?
You're very
Hudson?
welcome.
No.
Okay.
No. I was
We're
just
glad
gonna
to have
wave
you a part of
goodbye
VO
and-
Marketing
Yeah,
Pro.
we're thankful for your part in VO Marketing Pro too.
Well, I'm loving being part of the family, which is great.
Awesome.
All right, Chris, have
Thanks,
a good rest of
Chris.
your night.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
care.
Bye-bye now. God bless.